Let's get spooky. This is our Station Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen.
Welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted hosts, we have Lisa.
Hello, Ghoulies.
We have Karen.
What's up, my horrorholics?
And I am Shannon. Welcome to the show. This episode, we are going to be reviewing a Spanish film that has been titled on Netflix as The Platform. All right, so The Platform. I saw this film probably not too long after it came out. I know it was pre-pandemic when I saw it, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted all of my friends to watch it. And most of them actually ended up watching it during the pandemic. So, what are y'all's initial thoughts on this film? Karen, do you want to go first?
I mean, it's an amazing film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's kind of hard to find unless you know what you're looking for on Netflix, because I just stumbled upon it one day and I was like, oh, cool. And then, you tell other people. I mean, I don't think it gets the recognition that it deserves to get, because it's a really good film. Really good film.
I can agree with you on that. Lisa, what about you?
Oh, yeah, I stumbled upon it on Netflix looking through the horror section, and I saw this preview of this one guy, like, falling down. And
yeah,
wow, what's that? And then I saw, I didn't really actually see it until last year, but then I watched it again this year, and it's just a fantastic film. It really has I have a lot of theories about it, so I look forward to sharing some of those with you.
Oh yeah, I apologize now if you guys are here for like the fun, goofy, us just kind of like bullshitting on whatever it is that we're talking about. This one kind of goes a little deep. We're gonna have some discussions on some deeper discussions, and I think that's kind of fun. And what I think I love most about this film is that it is so thought-provoking, and not just because it's a film that kind of nods to certain social implications, but it's everybody who's watched it and has come back and said, "Oh, hey, I saw that film." All of them have said the same thing of, "I have to watch it again because I think I missed something." And they're like, there's just so much to talk about. There's so much to see in it. And I think for me personally, I think that's the key to a great film, is that you want to keep watching it because you feel like you missed something, and not,
Oh, yeah.
and not, well, I missed it because like they didn't make it obvious. It was, I missed it because there's so much there, and like you just want to keep diving in. But before we get into the heavy stuff, let's have some little lightheartedness. What would you guys bring into the pit? Lisa, what about you?
I would bring a charcoal pencil.
Okay.
One, you could brush your teeth with charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
2, you can stab somebody with a pencil. 3, charcoal pencils are self-sharpening, so you could just rub it against the wall to sharpen it up. And then you can write and make notes and pay attention to how long you've been there and everything. So that's what I do.
Okay. Karen, what about you?
I was thinking a marker, but after hearing her answer, I'm like, if I knew what was going to happen in this prison pit thing, I would bring me a weapon.
That's fair.
Straight out, this weapon. If I did not know what happens in this pit thing, like it's just a pit, people are getting punished or whatever, I'll probably bring me a book to read, like the main character.
Yeah. Like if I was in like the main character's shoes, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have brought a book, but it would probably be like a really thick book, like something that had like multiple books within a book. So like I know I have one for Poe and I have one for Shakespeare, and
Yeah.
a compendium of some sort of somebody's work. Like I would probably bring something like that. So like I wasn't just reading one story over and over and over again, because the ADHD in me might go, that's enough. I need something new.
Yeah.
But Karen, I agree with you. It's like if I knew, I probably would bring something else, something to protect myself. That is for sure. For sure. I mean, we saw all sorts of things. A lot of people had weapons, of course. We had that samurai sword and samurai plus knife. But there was like a dude with a surfboard. Like, what are you bringing a surfboard into the pit for? Like, even if you were like the main character, just going for like 6 months so I can get a degree and quit smoking. Like, why would you bring a surfboard?
I
Why?
mean, I guess because to like to imagine like after 6 months when I get out of here, I'm gonna go surfing. That's my whole goal, man. Let's go
Yeah.
surfing.
Like, whoever comes and picks you up, have them keep your board for
I
you.
mean, yeah.
But we saw like there was a dude with money. There was the bureaucratic lady with her dog. We had a kiddie pool. Two naked guys in a kiddie pool. Um, there was the golden mannequin. Just
Ah, the
just
goddess.
the random golden mannequin just hanging out. There's talks of a ukulele. Like they brought some interesting things.
Rope.
Rope,
Yep.
yeah, rope to climb out. That's where I was like, that is interesting. Like, why would you want? I don't know. Like, why would you get in there to climb out?
I don't know. I guess it depends on like how long your stay is, and if you don't want to be on that level, you go up to like more levels. Like, come on, let's go to another level. Let's go. you know.
I'm also wondering, like, did he go there voluntarily? I feel like his character, we never got a true like, was he there voluntarily, like our main dude, or was he sentenced there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the old guy, he had a choice of either going to the sane asylum or going there for a year.
He
So,
should have gone to the insane asylum,
Yeah.
obviously. How dare I use his word?
I mean, if you could survive a year in the pit, then
Yeah.
I mean, it was
You,
an accident, okay? He threw his TV out the window and it killed somebody. It was an accident, yet he still got jailed for it.
yeah, but he threw his TV out his window onto a sidewalk where people walk.
Okay.
I feel like common sense would say, I could
Yeah.
hurt somebody if I do this.
Okay, okay.
The gravitational pull.
But as I kind of said before when I said about like me first finding this film, this is a pre-pandemic film that we're talking about. And how do we feel now in a post-pandemic era, essentially? How do we feel about its relevance? Do we still think it's like super valid? Do we think that there is
I mean,
some parts of it that have changed because of the pandemic? Or how much of it has gotten worse
I
since the
mean,
pandemic?
it's just a reflection of society pre, post, and during the pandemic, really. Like, if you think about it, like during the pandemic, we had people arguing over toilet paper
And mask.
and masks. And then we had like, the housing crisis before and then after.
Sir.
And
Um,
still,
and still,
And
I mean,
still.
dealing with hunger, homelessness, healthcare before, during, and after.
mhm.
People not doing their part to stop the spread of a disease, rising the cost of living. Basically, it's selfishness
Hmm.
before, during, and after.
And the
Yeah.
platform is all about how every single aspect of that pit was based on, I would say actually, for the people who are in it, for survival. But
Yeah,
everybody had to be selfish. The administration was selfish, and the way that they orchestrated the whole thing. The kitchen, you can tell, like that was like Michelin star level kitchen
Yeah.
type deal. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why are you going to that level of like food preparedness to then not ensure that everybody can have some?
I mean, yeah.
You know, like you literally set people up for failure.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But yeah, I think its relevance is extremely, extremely there. And I think it is a reflection of society, of humanity in multiple aspects. You did see quite a bit of the depravity of humanity, but you had those glimmers of people, whether the reasons were just or good or whatever, you still had those few people who are like, let's try to be better. Let's try to do better. Let's
Yeah,
not be shitty human beings.
literally.
Literally, yeah. So I think, yeah, I agree with you guys. Like the relevance is definitely there. Lisa, I know you got a little bit in there.
I definitely agree with the selfishness and the relevance of it. I mean, you still see it. I agree with Karen and you. I mean, totally on this. Yeah, and they were it was a way for the everybody to be set up for failure, and that's just sad because sometimes it feels like society now is setting up for everybody to fail, except for a few. So that's how it reflects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this is a foreign film. Originally, I thought it was Portuguese, but in doing some like research for the this episode, everything I'm finding says it's Spanish. It's a foreign film and it's European based. And I personally think that it does have valid social implications here in the States as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't think this is just over there. I think it's
Throughout.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's relevant around the world, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I hated the kitchen. I'm like, y'all making these good food and y'all not, making it prepared for everybody else. You ask them for the favorite foods, but when they get down to the lower levels, they're not going to get their favorite food because everyone
Mhm.
has eaten it. But I don't think they make the favorite foods for anything lower than 50.
Yeah.
Well, I think Homeboy
He was at 33.
he was at 33, yeah. He was at 33. But his snails were still left. So,
Yeah.
completely untouched. Escargot. Ugh.
Yeah.
I like escargot.
It's an insect. I can't do it. I can't do it. No.
It's like eating frog. Good.
Now, I've had frog.
Me too.
When it's done right, it's not half bad. But a lot of people don't know how to make it correctly.
That's true.
True.
Yeah. With the different characters that we come across and their relationship to the powers that be, did their representation of that relationship inspire any new trains of thought from our own views when it comes to the administration or the upper echelons, as I like to say?
No, it did not change my thought. It really did not. I mean, I saw the administration as what, what administration is going to do. The government's going to do what the government wants to do, regardless of what we think or want. So this, they won't change unless, there's enough collective voices that want that change.
Mm-hmm.
And then be like, oh shit, we fucked up. Let's try to change it before it's too late. And the administration knew what it was doing. I mean, you can't hoard food. You hoard food, you either fry to death or be frozen to death. They don't care if you have some sort of ailment. The only thing they care about is if you hoarding food. So yeah, my thoughts on the echelon in the government were like, it's the same damn thing.
Lisa, what about you?
Yeah, I agree, but I also think they did it for sport. It was a form of entertainment for them to see how much depravity the human race would go.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if we do this, let's see what happens, that kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, I feel pretty much, they're going to do what they're going to do and they're going to do it for their own entertainment and for their own comfort. Well, we don't have to worry about them as long as we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, in that case, then everybody underneath them are fighting against each other instead of paying attention to what they're really doing, which
Yeah.
is sad because that actually happens a lot.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even if they were paying attention to what the uppers are doing, they still didn't care.
yeah,
A lot
because
of them lost that hope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the one of the very first quotes of the movie is there's three people, the ones above, the ones below, and the ones that fall. And multiple times there at the beginning of the film, the old dude was like, hey, you know what? The ones
I've seen it
above,
all.
they don't care. And the ones below aren't going to listen to us because we're the ones above. And so yeah, there is that there is that divide. And I don't want to say I had any like new trains of thought, but I had some solidarity on a lot of the thoughts that I had
Hmm.
previous to seeing the film. That I was like, you know what? Okay, so like I'm not the only one who sees these things. I'm not the only one who feels this way. Like this is something that a lot of people are connecting to. And for the listeners, at the time of this recording, because we recorded this ahead of time, today was the day that the US government banned the app TikTok. And I think that's kind of interesting that we're talking about like this movie and its implications of like government control and all that kind of stuff when something like this happened. And how now there's kind of like a revolt going on where there's a lot of people who are going, you're trying to get rid of this app, but yet you won't take care of our health care. You won't make sure we have food and shelter. And so it's the the real life parallels of that movie and what's going on in the real world. It's it's
It's
just an
strong.
explosion. It's an
Yeah.
explosion right now. And I think it's interesting that so many people are now on this thought of we need to send a message to these upper echelons. We need to send a message to the administration like they are doing in this film with at first it was that dessert and then it became the child, which
Yeah.
we'll talk more on that child. We got a list of questions, y'all. We're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to that one.
Oh yeah. Before we actually get to that one, I actually want to talk about the representation in this film. I think this film had some really great representation of ADA individuals, so disabled individuals, from the old man in the wheelchair to the young man with Down syndrome. How do we feel like about like the pit and then these individuals being in the pit?
I mean, I find it kind of, unfair that these individuals are in the pit because I don't know their backstory. Able-bodied should not be in a situation with disabled because there's a disadvantage almost. The man in the wheelchair, he's gonna have to have somebody fight for him. He's gonna have to have somebody like advocate for him, fight for food, help him clean up and whatnot. And then, the innocence of the young man with the Down syndrome, his innocence was taken away because he knows, the harsh realities of the pit. And he's like, I'm going to have to eat him when you leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You
what?
know,
No.
although I won't lie, there seemed to be slight glee when he said, "I will eat that meal you're feeding him right now." Like I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you're kind of liking that.
Yeah.
But you don't know how long he's been there. So it's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like this pit has made people spiral into insanity
Yeah.
Yeah.
and madness.
I mean, the fact that they say like you have to be like 16 years or over 16 years old in order to be in the pit, that young man looked like he could have easily been like 18.
Yeah.
And so it's one of
Hmm.
these deals of like, first of all, why was he down there? And second of all,
Did he
like,
actually sign up himself?
yeah,
Yeah.
did he sign up for himself,
Or was he coerced,
coerced, or
thrown away?
considering a lot of individuals with that diagnosis are not allowed to make decisions for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
being said that
Hmm.
they don't have the cognitive ability, although quite a few do. It's one of these deals of like, did somebody sign him up because they didn't want to take care of him any longer? Or is that like how that system takes care of those individuals when there is no caretaker there? Like, let's say that that individual's parents both passed away and there was
Yeah.
nobody else to take care of him. Did he just get sent to the pit because of that? Or was this somebody who actually, maybe did do some bad stuff and it is a punishment? But like, does the punishment actually match the crime?
Right.
Like, there's a lot of like, I have questions.
I
I
have
have,
questions. I need answers
I
now.
have questions. I need answers.
The guy in the wheelchair too, did his funding run out, like his Medicaid or whatever, and they had no other place to put him?
Hmm.
I mean, Yeah, and maybe he just gave up and said, I can't do this anymore. I don't have help. I
Yeah.
mean,
And we don't know if he was there voluntarily or not. And
it's
that's the thing that I think is interesting is that we did get to learn whether or not certain characters were there voluntarily and some were there because they had to.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how those individuals changed based off of also why they were there. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of
Mhm.
safe to assume for some of the characters, like, the couple that was above them at one point was level 5 was the
Yeah,
level that they
Yeah,
were
they were
on.
on level 6. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and so like the couple on level 5, how they pooped on the guy's face. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. If
It's
you
like you
volunteered there, you probably were not going to plan on pooping on somebody's face.
it's like you
But
do realize you could be below me at one point at some time after this.
exactly, exactly.
It's like,
That's
hey
one thing
guys.
I could never understand how they determined that where they went though.
I think it was just random.
Yeah, it was just random.
I think it was just random that it was like
Yeah,
okay, well, let's go ahead and put them on level 5. But then,
yeah,
like, the next month it was like, let's go ahead and put them on, 152,
yeah.
or 252.
I think it was like 170 something, because he was on level 50, 49 or 45 when the movie
Uh-huh.
started. And then they went down,
47, I think.
and I just watched the video of the movie again, so I can't
I
Yeah.
remember.
know.
It's
And then
like,
they went down to level 172,
Yeah.
and then the old man t
Tied
t
him up.
tied him up. It's like, you are a heavy sleeper.
mhm.
And he just tied him up. It's like, listen, I'm gonna have to let you purge. But I'm gonna make it, as painless as possible when I carve your flesh. We're gonna eat good though, because you're young. You can survive this. I can't. So once we get out to survive the month, we're gonna go to another level.
That old man was deranged. Oh my goodness. He was so crazy.
Oh, I know.
So crazy. His hallucination form was not much better.
No, it was
Uh,
not.
No.
It's like, you ate me. Now I'm a part of you, and you're a part of me. Ha.
yeah. One
Uh,
of us. One of us. Sorry. Anytime I hear like, now we are part of each other, it's like one of the crew, one of us, one of us. It just automatically chants in my head and I can't stop it.
I did it too.
Mm,
But yeah, you saw like, yeah, the randomness of the floors and how it went all the way to 30 or 333.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And when I go into the 333, there was like nothing there.
Just
No
the
light.
child.
Just the
Just the
kid.
child.
Well, the child was down like at 250 or something,
No.
and
No, 333.
Yeah, she was all the way down there.
She was
no,
on
she
the
wasn't at 333. Like the pit went all the way down.
no, no, no. So 333 is the last floor.
Oh, okay.
Then it went to like the basement or whatever
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
before it
Okay.
goes back up. But the last like level is 333, which I I have questions for the writers for this. I want to know how many of them have read Dante's Inferno because there are way too many parallels for me personally, and that's one of my favorite books.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was
I'm ex-
like, 333, and there's two people on every floor? That's 666. Hmm.
Mhm.
And then the different levels are kind of corresponded to the different levels of hell. I'm
ex-
like, y'all,
Yeah, but the thing
y'all,
is, with the little girl, there was like only one. That was her. So
yeah, but
it
how
was
many
the-
people were murdered
yeah.
throughout?
yeah,
But if you think about it, if there's two people per floor and there's 333 floors,
Yeah.
and
there's
also
supposed to be
begs like, how did she
666
survive?
people. See, okay, we're gonna have to get into this. So,
Let's talk about this right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
screw the other questions. Let's get into this one right now.
yeah. So before we started recording tonight, we kind of were like, okay, what are a few of the things that we want to talk about? And all three of us were like, we need to talk about the child.
We do.
We have to talk about this child. And in researching for this thing, I have dived into way too many Reddit threads. And there's basically like 3 schools of thought for how this child was in the pit. One, Nahara brought the child. That was her thing that she brought. And that the bureaucratic lady didn't actually check her in and didn't know what she was talking about when she supposedly told him the story of how this person came into the pit. And then she actually had the child in the pit. And then there is it was just an illusion of 2 men who were dying. A shared delusion. This child, I don't know. I have questions. I think that is the thing about this movie, is my theme, at least with it. I have questions. Y'all, I have questions. I have so many questions.
Like, I had to pause it a few times. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit. But like, the girl, like, if the girl was born there, then that means, Maharu or whoever's mother has been there for a long time. Meaning, let's just say for, shits and giggles, it's Maharu. She's been there for a long time. And she's been trying.
That kid was what, 5, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5, 6 years old. So she would have to have been in there 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And then she's been taking food down to her daughter. Meat.
Yeah. Yeah. Meat.
Meat down to her daughter every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yep. I mean, and the fact that Maharu even survived, like going up and down and battling out 2 people at a time. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
And even if, she got pregnant there.
Yeah. What would you do for your child? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
what if she did bring her ukulele, but she accidentally got pregnant there? And, if she had like a year to 2 to stay there, but she got pregnant there, knowing that, they won't allow anybody, under 16 out or in, and they realize, oh shit, she's pregnant. We can't let this get out because no one under 16 should be under here. So what if she voluntarily stayed just to protect this child and to feed her every day?
Yeah.
Meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know they don't care. We know they don't care about people getting hurt, getting sick, or anything like that.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna send you doctors.
But then again, what if it wasn't the child was an illusion and it was a representation of hope of 2 dying men? Like, this is finally, it's over. Because use the lighting on the way they used the lighting on it was like, haha, kind of like a hopeful lighting in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's like the light at the end of the tunnel.
And especially with how our main guy, like, he was in his last month.
Yeah.
Like, he was good to get out.
Yeah.
And so if he had gone up with her, it would have been okay. But the fact that he got off and he was walking fine, to me is like, no, homeboy's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I think what we saw there at the end was not him as a living, breathing human being getting off and walking away. I think he was dead at that point. Now, whether or not the little girl was there for realsies, that's a whole other story. But
and if she was there, at least she had company riding back up that saved her.
Yeah.
At least we think so.
I'm glad that it ended the way that it did, despite the fact that most of everybody else's reviews are saying, no, we hated the ending. And like the 7 bajillion Reddit threads saying the ending sucked. But I think it was a great ending. Because you can use your imagination on how Level Zero, how all those people responded to finding this little girl on the platform when they came in to clear it off. Like,
I'll probably have a heart attack. Like, oh my God, we have a child. We have a child.
It's a child.
A child.
Like, how did you survive, child?
Uh, which honestly, that reminds me of a streamer that I follow on Twitch. She was playing a horror game and it was absolutely funny. She goes, "It's a child." It was so funny. I'll have to send you all the clip.
Definitely.
It's funny. But yeah, it's no matter the theory, like on the whether or not you think the child is real or how the child got there, the fact that there was still hope at the end of the film, I think that's cool, especially for
Yeah,
a
it was.
horror film. Like
Hmm.
usually that's not the case.
And
And
did we actually know what book he actually was
Don
reading?
Quixote.
Don
Yeah,
Quixote,
that's right.
Don Quixote.
a
Which,
hard
yeah, hardback Don Quixote.
that could be
That's
used
where.
as a weapon too. Ah!
I, it was not a small book, so yeah,
No.
yeah, it was a thick boy. But yeah, like I think honestly, I won't lie, I actually really loved the fact that there were just so many different types of individuals that you
Hmm.
came across in this film.
Hmm.
Like some of those guys at the end who were hopeful, who were like, we can do better. I thought that was kind of cool.
I wanted the black guy to survive,
Me too.
Me too.
Me too. I'm tired of them not surviving.
and he was a handsome black guy too. I was
He
like,
was. He
damn,
was very handsome.
It's
like all the
very
handsome ones die.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know. How do you feel about the willful ignorance of the bureaucratic lady?
Ignorance is bliss, man. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
she was
she,
wrong about everything.
yeah.
Well, maybe she was misinformed, and that's why she was giving the wrong information. So she believed what she was given, the information she was given, and turned out to be a lie. And then she's like, "Oh, too late
And
now."
I mean, that is why she hung herself. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
she discovered the truth.
And also, yeah, yeah. And her poor dog. Oh my God.
Oh,
Ramses
Ramsey
is,
the second. Oh,
I
poor
was like,
Ramsey.
I'm like, oh shit. When Maru looked at him, I was like, oh
yeah.
I was like, that wiener dog is about to become a hot dog.
no.
Yeah.
I
My
mean,
son were like, "Not the dog."
I was like, no. Luckily, there was nobody in the house when I was watching it, and I was screaming, no.
I'm just glad we actually didn't have to see it happen.
Yeah,
Agreed. Agreed.
agree.
It's, I will say this, I am not a fan of innocent animals dying in films, but I wasn't mad.
That was a lot of blood for a small dog.
It was. It was. But I think they also like over exaggerated quite a bit of the blood portions of things.
Hmm.
Hmm.
When he was slicing into Homeboy's leg, it would not have bled like that.
No.
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 And when he was slicing into the bureaucrat's back, she was dead. How's she still bleeding?
Well, blood will still come out.
But not that rate.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Not
is she
like
fresh?
that.
Because she looked like she's fresh,
And
fresh.
it'll definitely be a little darker too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sad that we know that, but not really.
Yeah.
You're talking about three women who've been watching horror films since their adolescence. I think we can bypass the fact that we all know what like things should look like.
Like, yeah. No.
It also doesn't help. I wanted to be a coroner at one point in time,
Me too.
so
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
when half of my Instagram is pathologists, I kind of know what things are supposed to look like. Okay. So here's like it's happened very shortly. Do we actually think that him and Maharu actually had sex, or do we think it was like a fever dream?
I think it was a
I
fever dream.
agree.
I
I
concur.
mean, because she looked too well cleaned up for them to have sex like that.
Yeah.
And so should he. He looked
Hmm.
both of them look immaculate. But I thought it was kind of funny how she cradled him like a child in
Yeah.
that fever dream.
But I mean, you have to think about it. Homeboy probably wanted to be swaddled like a child and taken care of.
I mean, he got his leg cut into it.
Yeah.
Take care of me.
And all he wanted to do was get a degree and quit smoking.
Yeah,
I
I know,
mean,
right?
Which I want to know I want to know what the degree was that he
I
would have
do
gotten for being in there.
me too.
same.
Even the old man was like, "You can only get 6 months in a degree. I could be in here for like I can get 2 degrees,
Hmm.
credit degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's all that takes, like 6 months. Like, can I be here for a year and get a degree in what? Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do we feel about how casual the cannibalism was in this film?
I mean, okay, so for the old man, it was very casual because he's been here for like almost like a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's been in all levels. So he's fine with it. Now, main guy, I can never pronounce his name. There's Gring, whatever. He was repulsed by it. I mean, he was
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh God, no."
Goran is his name.
Goran.
Goran. Hmm.
As soon as as soon as the chick gave him bits and pieces, like she was like a mother chewing on it and then
Hmm.
giving it to him, chewing on it and giving. And he was like, I don't want to eat this, but I have to survive. I haven't eaten in
Hmm.
7, 9 days because he was purging me. At
Yep.
that point, you're kind of like,
Ah,
Yeah. But it's one of those, like, at what point do you go, okay, yeah, I need to eat my fellow human beings. Like long pig is now on the menu. Like at what point do you have to be in order for that to go through your mind and you go, I'm okay with this?
with the old man, I could understand. I can understand because he's been there for like a year, and you just have to do what you to do to survive because
Yeah.
he's been in there for like a year. He had like what 2 months to go,
yeah.
so he
At
needs
the
to
beginning of the
survive.
film, yeah.
Goran 6 months, and he doesn't know the deal of this pit, this
Yeah.
vertical system. I forget what they call it. It's like
Oh,
VRC or something like that.
the
So to get comfortable,
vertical self-management center.
Yeah.
yeah. After 9 days of not eating and being purged to be eaten, I got my life saved by this chick, and she's feeding me like a baby bird. There's no other food around. Mm.
Yeah.
And when she left him, he looked at the body, and it's like he gave up all hope right there. He just
Yeah.
gave up all hope.
I actually kind of have a theory about a lot of this that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, bear with me, guys.
Tinfoil hat is on. We're good to go.
He's reading Don Quixote, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don Quixote is always fighting his imaginary enemy dragons with the windmills, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So basically, what if this is his purgatory and he's going down the 9 levels of hell and he's trying, like you were saying, Dante's Inferno, and the psychiatrist lady is the logical mind, and when she dies of cancer, that's when his logical mind dies. The guy, the old man who's eating everybody, is his primal mind, and that's what like gets him like all these violent, the things that he was starting to imagine. And the mother who's looking for the child is like his mother, and feeding him like the baby bird and taking care of him and everything. And then when he loses her, it's like his loss of his childhood, his loss of his mother. And when he finally gets down to fighting all these other dragons down to where the child is, like you said, we assume he's dead. The child was the hope in that he had passed all his tests through purgatory and hell and everything, and that's why he got to ascend and go free. And that's just my theory. That's why I was trying to make sure it was Don Quixote, because Don Quixote was delusional and he always fighting his enemies. So he's basically fighting everything about himself while he was dying before he was set free into a hopeful. And that's why I think the child represents hope.
Yeah. And when you think about the Divine Comedy that Inferno is the first book of,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
it talks about Dante going through and coming all the way through to then ascend into heaven and be able to go through the multiple layers of heaven. So it's kind of the whole you must go up or must go down to go up. I mean, for us who have gone to Dragon Con, we all understand this. You
Oh
get on the
yeah.
elevator when you get on
Yes.
the elevator. Sometimes you have to go in the wrong
Any con,
direction
any con.
to go to the direction you want to go.
The black guy, what would you think his role was for then,
I think
if we're going for that?
his role was his last bit of how do you say it? Heroic bravery that he had left in him to finally try to finish the trial. That was his last bit that he must,
Okay.
and logical.
And if you go and you put it towards, let's say, like, Inferno, he can be the representation of some of those righteous souls that were put there and had to fight their way out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The director actually kind of had a like a key message. I read it. I don't even remember where I read it now, but it was basically humanity will have to move towards a fair distribution of wealth because we will revolt. We will revolution. There will be revolutions. There will be all this like craziness. And I thought that that was kind of interesting that like this film was basically their way of saying this is going to happen at some point in time and it's not going to be pretty when it does.
Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
I mean, there's even like comments about the film when it came to the violence and the cannibalism. The whole is the reflection of society, so it couldn't hide the violence. And it just showed how we would rip each other apart in order to survive.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely, definitely. Because our primal urge is to feed, to reproduce, and to survive. That's the three urges that we have. So if, say, God forbid, we have some sort of apocalypse that happens, you will see the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way around it. You're going to see the worst of humanity. I would rather, not see the worst of humanity, but in this day and age, I see it every single day.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I am thankful though for all of those small little bits that show the beauty that humanity has. I am actually kind of interested though in the sequel that I think is now in pre-production according to
Awesome.
IMDb.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're going to top the first one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I want to know what direction it's going to go.
Me too.
Because usually, the first one is like, and the second one's like, you shouldn't have made it. But sometimes you're like, you know what? Second one beat the first one.
Yep. Okay. So I just I'm like, where is the information on that sequel? But I just saw the fun fact. So the two prisoners who were sitting in the little like bathtub kiddie pool thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
those were the screenwriters.
Oh my God.
You have to be real comfortable with another dude to be sitting like naked in the pool.
You know what? Screenwriters, I believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that they would be comfortable enough. I love that I just saw that.
That's funny. It's really funny.
Like I don't know how you actually be comfortable enough, like in the pit, to like strip naked and wash up with another person there you only just met, because like that first month, man, those two dudes were like standing there naked and talking and stuff and bathing and nakedness. I was like, y'all must be really comfortable with each other now to be like strutting around naked.
Well,
I don't think I could be that comfortable with somebody strutting around naked.
I think it kind of depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because to be perfectly honest, like I don't mind not wearing clothes. So, you know, as long as everybody's kosher, I'll go for it.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think my roommate would have to be another woman
That's fair.
because I don't think I could trust a man to keep his hands to himself.
That's
Fair.
fair. Right now there is that debate of if you were in the woods Would you want there to be a man or a bear in there?
A bear. Straight up
Bear,
bear.
bear.
Because we saw what those two guys tried to do to Muharu,
Yeah,
butchering.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is this
also
our, I was like,
multiple
no,
individuals.
no. And then she like slaughters both of them. I was like, oh,
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yep.
there's multiple people who tried to do that to her.
yeah. So she's like, fuck this. I'm gonna kill you and take your flesh.
Yeah.
I mean, even the old man suggested it.
Yeah. He
I'm like,
did.
dude, I know he suggested it, but come on,
Yeah.
old man.
Alrighty. I found the IMDb. So it will be the same director,
Good.
completely different cast. But right now they only have two people cast, and that's kind of about it.
Do they have the same screenwriters?
Right now, the only writer is the director from the first film.
Okay.
Oh no.
At
Yeah.
least they have the same person, one of the same people.
Yeah, true.
And this film, if I remember correctly, was actually a film that got entered in, I want to say, the Toronto Film Festival, and it won a bunch of different categories. And with them going, hey, this is a good film, we like it, they ended up signing a deal with Netflix. And then Netflix got the rights for the movie.
Mm.
But this film did win, I want to say, like 12 awards.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was either like 24, 26, something like that, for the awards that it was originally like nominated for.
I mean, if they do a part two, I would like to see what the administration looks like. I want to see their role,
Right?
who
Me
those
too.
people
And
are.
just occasional the person who makes the food. I'd like to see the upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the other side of it all.
Now, how you decide gets in the pit?
Yeah. 12 wins, 24 nominations. So it won half of the nominations that it was put up for. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty
good.
cool.
Yeah. Especially for it being like an indie film.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. For the platform 2, it's another horror sci-fi thriller. A thrilling physical journey that allows an approach to the darkness where it is scary to look. It appeals to the viewer's civil responsibility and forces them to face the limits of their own solidarity.
Mm.
It hits a lot of the same tones as the first one, but there's a lot that seems to be open
Yeah.
on this.
Definitely.
And there's not much,
I still want to see how the other half plays.
of course.
Of course.
I mean, they already have a composer on here.
Oh wow.
Mm.
Yeah, there's only two cast members. They got 3 producers, a composer, a cinematographer. Yeah.
Mm.
Costume design, makeup, art and sound, special effects, visual effects, stunts. They got a ton of stunt performers. Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be stunt performers, it's probably going to be in the pit again.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Sadness.
I mean, how many? I think in like the first film, I think there was only 6 prisoners that were just like prisoner number 1, prisoner number 2. The rest all had like actual names as like specific characters, but we saw quite a few different people. So like, how many of them were just stunt doubles or extras that didn't get like a title credit kind of thing? But as we wrap this up, because we just kind of went off on like a fun little happy trail, how do we think we, us ourselves, would have fared in this film if we were thrown into the pit? How do we think we would survive? I don't think I would. I'd go stir crazy.
I mean, let's see. There's a lot of factors to deal with. I mean, the human body can survive about a month without food, but they have water, so that's good. They could drink from the water fountain.
Mm-hmm.
But it also depends on like what level you get into and how hungry your cellmate is and how long your cellmate has been in there. Because if it's longer than you and they've been down to the lower levels, that's the fight to survive right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably be able to survive. I mean, I don't mind,
there's
punching a motherfucker.
there's to me there's too many like extra factors. There's too many variables for me to determine whether or not I would or would not survive. So I'm just
Right.
gonna go ahead and say I probably wouldn't because there's just too many variables. Plus, I like to eat. So,
Well, there you go.
Lisa, how do you think you'd fare though?
I would probably survive a little bit. Probably end up fighting to the death.
Yeah.
I probably would end up eating some people, I'm sure. Since I have a charcoal pencil, I could draw little chalk lines around
There you go.
this one. He tastes good.
If my will to survive, see,
Yeah.
me and Lisa are gonna probably survive.
I'm just here for the ride. If I survive, great. If I don't, all right, that's fine too. We'll see how I end up.
But here's what sorry, I'm gonna go on a tangent a little bit. So on some of the levels, they had extra people. So did they like jump down to those extra levels? Because one of them had like 4 people on it,
They probably rode down.
Yeah.
I believe. Oh.
Yeah.
Or was it just 2 people fighting Mahiro?
Oh, it was just the 2 people fighting Mahiro.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't remember
Oh,
there
okay.
being a level that had 4 people. I just watched it. Did I not pay attention?
Those guys must be fresh in.
We all
I'm
gotta
sorry,
watch
those
it
guys must have
again.
been fresh in because they were. Those
Yeah.
guys must have been fresh in because they were really wiry.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were spry. Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
kind of spry.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up this fun episode. So we're gonna give our final review for our listeners. When it comes to our reviews, we do in a number of skulls. So personally, I think that this film, I would give it actually 4 out of 5 stars. It's going to be hard to get 5 stars out of me, or not stars, skulls. This will be 4 out of 5 skulls. It's going to be hard to get 5 skulls out of me. Like it has to be like the best of the best of the best in order for me to give you a 5. I think because actually I take it back. I give it 4.5 out of 5 skulls. This film overall, I think, is an extremely well done film. I think from the writing to the performing, the cinematography as a whole, and the special effects, like most of it, it just knocks it out of the park. And then when you have the social implications and the discussions you can have with fellow individuals about the film and like the sociological aspects of it, I think it makes it a film that's worth watching over and over and over again. Some of the special effects weren't quite on a realistic par, but that's part of the love of horror is that they're not supposed to be. But yeah, I personally give it 4.5 out of 5 skulls. Lisa, what about you?
I would have to give it a 4 skulls. I really did think it was definitely a social commentary. And yeah, the special effects were a little like, yeah, some things, but for an indie film, it was pretty good. I liked the message. I wasn't happy with the dog thing, but that's just me. Other than that, I think the character development, the cinematography, everything was pretty much on point. And that old man, he just gave me the creeps. He just gave me. Yeah, there's his little knife. What was it called again?
The Samurai Plus.
Samurai Plus. It reminded me when I was when I was a kid, we had the 9.99 Ginsu knives that could cut through cans. So that kind of took me back to my childhood with those knives. So
same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I definitely give it a 4 out of 5 skulls. It's got to, like you said, it's got to be really, 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 really. But it's definitely, I would so recommend it to anybody to watch. It's definitely 100% that.
All right. Karen, how about you? How do you rate the platform?
I give this a 5 out of 5 skulls, okay? Because, this is the type of movie I could watch over and over and I can recommend it to folks. That gives it, a 5 out of me. I love the social commentary. I love the allusions to literature that it calls out to. I love the cinematography, the acting. The blood was kind of y'all doing a little bit too much right there. Y'all not doing enough over there. The dog part, I could have went, without, but then again, she's the one that brought the dog in. It was gonna get ate. I'm sorry.
Hey, like I said, that wiener dog became a hot dog.
Yep.
Yeah. So all in all, I give it a 5 out of 5. So altogether, with our combined totals, it'll be a 4.5 skulls altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that's a fair rating. Like, I don't, to be perfectly honest, I can't tell you why I can't put it at a 5. It's just one of those when I'm thinking, I'm like, as much as I love this film, I don't think I could give it a full 5 rating. Maybe a 4.9. My gut says don't give it a full 5.
Okay, you just said 4.5, all right? I'm not doing the calculations again.
No, that's fine. That's
It might be like,
that's fine.
it might be 4.9 then.
4.5 is fine. 4.5 is fine. It's definitely more than a 4, but to me, it's just definitely not a 5. But I think it's a fantastic film. And like you said, it's a lot of people can watch that film. I don't think my mom would. I think it's a little too gory for her, but but I can see a lot of like people who are kind of okay with gore liking it, especially those who like the more social science type movies where you have that thinking. So,
And the psychological part of it too. Yeah.
yeah, the
Absolutely.
psychological part of it, because it does make you think, and you can see the psychology behind like some of the different individuals and how they react to things and everything. But you, the listener, you who is listening to this episode, would you survive? And what would you bring? What would you bring with you to the pit? Like, what would be your item? I'd like to know. Also, tell us what strategy you would use to survive in the platform. You can tell us on our social media. We can continue this conversation on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, and our Facebook group. We would love to see you in there, where you can share all sorts of fun horror related things. You can definitely find our podcast on all the different platforms, including Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. But ladies, where can they find you so they can have fun chit chatting with y'all? Lisa?
Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads. I have an art group that I'll put in the link tree when I finish it. And yeah, I'm pretty much easy to find.
Okay. What would be the handle that they could look up really easily?
Lisa Zenshin.
Got it. And Karen, how about yourself?
Everywhere. Just click on the link tree.
What handle can they look up though?
You can find me on Facebook as Karen Bembry. You can find me on Instagram, Karen Bembry, X as Blasian Fury, Reddit, TikTok, Karen the Writer, and there's something else I'm forgetting. Threads, Karen Bembry.
And then you can find me on all the different things under Spilled Tea Wine Media Minds. But thank you guys so much. We actually really enjoy doing these episodes and recording this stuff for y'all. We hope you're enjoying listening. So thank you very much for doing that. We really do appreciate your support. So please make sure you are subscribing, and sharing on all the different things to all the different people. But stay spooky, our lovely ghouls. Toodles.
And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.